public is able to observe if they would like. And last thing I need to do is read through our hearing script. This basically just covers the procedure for the hearing, and then we'll jump right into the presentation. So this is the May 18th, 2022 session of the Zoning Hearing Examiner docket. My name is David Sturkey. I'm the Zoning Hearing Examiner for the City of Cincinnati, and I'll preside over this hearing. The case before us today is case number ZH0. Let me try that one more time. ZHUV220003. The purpose of this hearing is to allow applicants and opposing parties to testify and to offer and refute evidence and testimony. This hearing will follow the rules found in the zoning code and the supplemental rules of the zoning hearing examiner. All testimony and evidence that an applicant or any opposing party wishes to offer must be presented at this hearing unless a party has opted to submit evidence or testimony in the form of writing prior to this hearing. The hearing will proceed as follows. The applicant, the applicant's attorney, or the applicant's agent will first present the applicant's case. If there were anyone here from the public, they would have an opportunity to speak after the applicant had presented his case. I will give the zoning plans examiner, Wes Menzel, an opportunity to provide any testimony that he would like. And then in the event that any party does testify or offers any arguments in opposition to this application, the applicant will have an opportunity to rebut that testimony. And then finally, the applicant will have an opportunity to make any closing statements. So for our purposes here today, I'm pretty liberal about how I let people orient their presentations. One or all of you can speak in any order you would like for any amount of time really you would like. I just want to hear about the project, any background you think is important, anything for me to know about the project you think will help me make this decision. And of course, anything you think about the project sorry, I've got one more person joining us. Any reasons why you think I should grant this particular zoning relief request. And then I'll give Wes an opportunity to make any statements, and then you guys can make any closing remarks. After all presentations have been made, I will close the hearing. Decisions may be expected within 2 weeks. I may limit or exclude any testimony that I deem irrelevant or outside the scope of the application being considered. I may interrupt any speaker to ask questions or make any comments. I may also refuse to consider hearsay testimony or documents. That's generally evidence you want to introduce that consists of statements made by someone who's not present at this hearing. In the event of any technical difficulties with the Zoom technology, I'll do my best to troubleshoot those on the fly, but to the extent there's some defect that prevents us from me fully going forward with this hearing, I may continue or postpone the hearing at my discretion. Okay, last thing I need to do is just swear in all of our witnesses. So if you intend on providing any testimony here today, making any comments, asking any questions, really doing anything other than just strictly observing, then you need to be sworn in. So if you believe that is you, you could take yourself off mute. I need everyone to raise their right hand and to answer out loud. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you shall give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, great. Thanks, everyone. All right, who's going to be taking the lead here on the presentation?
Randy, you want to go ahead and start us off with where we're at?
We'll do. So, David, I understand that Weston has reviewed the submittal, but what I'll do is just kind of give a quick overview. And not sure if I'm able to share the screen or not, but essentially and I can pull up the drawings if you like as we kind of run through them. That would be helpful.
Yeah, feel free to share your screen if you'd like.
You got it. Okay.
Floor is yours.
All right. Everyone see that? So the Free Store Food Bank facility, it's going to be a food distribution and workforce training facility. So it is something, based on the use of the facility, we feel like the signage is very important. There are multiple things that will be occurring at this facility. Obviously, the food distribution component of it for both agency pickup as well as local residents will be able to come in and use their pantry to get individual food distribution from that side of things. The project site, just to and this will help explain this as well. In addition to the pantry component, and to see here. proposed site plan for the facility. So again, just from an orientation standpoint, you have River Road up kind of in the upper left-hand corner of the screen here. The orientation here is north is up on the sheet. And so the facility itself, again, there's a pantry component where local residents can come in and access food distribution that way. There's an agency pickup area here where it's more of smaller cars and trucks that pick up food for distribution. They do have their workforce training facility, which is down in this area. There's a training kitchen as well as forklift training that is offered for the community members as well. And then the main entrance to the building, this is where large teams of volunteers would come in and help support the Free Store's mission. So a lot of different areas going on, from a circulation standpoint. And that's one of the things that we are, we have provided wayfinding signage and things of that nature. Again, just a quick look at the floor plan to kind of reinforce what we just described there on the site plan level. You can kind of see those different features here. Again, pantry. This is workforce training classrooms, as well as the training kitchen facility in this area here. And we'll kind of get into the to a review of what this particular application, of what the design team at Free Store are requesting here. So on this file, as part of this, what we see down here, this is the west elevation. So this is that main entrance. Again, where we have the entrance to the pantry, we have some wayfinding signage that is zoning compliant of each of these canopies to help assist with that. The pantry entrance over here, we have the main facility entrance at this location, and then the workforce training entrance here. And as part of this, what the ask here is from a variance standpoint, with this large atrium area for the main entrance to the building, one of the items being requested is a window sign that would actually be the Free Store's logo. That would be located in the window. It would be a vinyl applied sign, and it is it'll be well kept, and it represents the Free Store's image. So that's going to be something that, from a design standpoint, we have no concerns about that. But it is something that we understand from a zoning standpoint that would require a variance. In addition, there are 2 donor signs that we are requesting variance for those as well, and those would be located up above this west elevation. What the variance requests for those are the height of the signs due to the height of the building, which is compliant with the zoning. The sign height, we would like to increase that above the limit of I believe it's 30 feet, and the proposed signage there is I believe that signage is at, I think it's 35. And that is in the documentation. And then the separation of 2 substantial donors, that they would have 2 separate signs as well. So essentially, we've got the height of these donor signs, the separation of the signs, the multiple signs, and then as well as the vinyl sign, window sign on the main entrance there. And then, in addition to those, we do have the again, these are the north and south building elevations. And then there is a roof signage request as well, which would be the Free Store Food Bank's logo that would be applied to the roof for visibility from overhead. So that's kind of a summary of what the request is here. I do want to take a quick look at Weston's report to just make sure that I describe those variances correctly. And Weston, if you have anything to add on that, it is 36 feet for the height of those two signs, and the current zoning is 30 feet for the height limitation on the west elevation.
So I'll give Wes an opportunity to just summarize his entire staff report here in a minute.
Okay.
So if there's anything else you'd like to show me here or tell me about the project, let's just do that now.
Randy, you've given a good overview. Why don't I go ahead? David, my name is Kurt Reiber. I'm the president and CEO of the Freestore Food Bank, and I appreciate this opportunity to share with you this transformative program and building for the Freestore Food Bank. In our 50 years, we have been operating out of really buildings that have been either acquired because of location and the ability to acquire them at a reasonable price. They really were not as functional and as efficient as we could have had because they were not designed for food distribution and or workforce training efforts. The building that we have here that's being built on River Road on the private drive that we will be calling Rosenthal Way will be the first building constructed for the Freestore Food Bank that will have basically modern food distribution capabilities. It will have racking systems. It will have freezer and refrigeration systems that will be allow us to quadruple the amount of fresh and perishable food items that we distribute on a year-over-year basis. The workforce training program is provided to individuals that are underemployed or unemployed to get them back into the workforce for culinary training as well as logistics training, which are two highly sought after areas. The roof sign that we're putting up on the top, that we're requesting to be placed on top of the roof, is simply there to draw attention to the Freestore from the air. So when the Bengals make it back into the playoffs, or if the Reds get into the World Series and we have blimps flying overhead, that someone will be able to see our logo and recognize the importance of the work that we're doing. As far as the signages on the outside, I'll discuss first the two donor signs that we have up on the sort of the front of the building, if you will, where the entrances are. Those are we're recognizing two significant donors to our Growing Beyond Hunger campaign. One is Procter & Gamble, a well-known company within the in this community that has provided a $5 million gift to the Freestore Food Bank Growing Beyond Hunger campaign. Those signs will be basically not big signs. It will be basically the words. And right now, the working number is that it'll say Community Resource and Distribution Center provided by Procter & Gamble, and the Procter & Gamble logo will be there. It will not be spelled out, but the rest of the signage will be basically block lettering with backlit lights. On the entrance going into our workforce training program, that will recognize the Cintas Corporation and the Farmer Family. It'll be the Farmer Family Foundation Workforce Training Center. Once again, that will be just the block letters with backlit lighting, very tastefully done and aesthetically pleasing from the outside. The logo that we have placed on the window, my understanding, and Weston can correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is that the reason that there's variance is because the logo is going on a glass wall as opposed to a concrete wall. If there was a concrete wall there, not a glass atrium, then it would not require a variance. But my understanding is because it's a glass wall, a variance is required. What we've tried to do here is have the Freestore recognized in our entrance to the building with our logo, which is something that is well known throughout the community. We have a lot of brand awareness associated with that. That building, that logo would be uplit from the outside. It would allow, basically allow folks to understand this was the Freestore Food Bank's building, so as not to draw any, false conclusions as to whether this is a Procter & Gamble building or a Cintas and Farmer Family Foundation building. As you can see from the artist rendering that was just up there, Randy, if you can pull that back up, that'd be great.
Yes.
Yeah, in fact, if you have renderings of all the signs.
Yeah. Yeah. So if as you can see, what we would have there is the logo that would be on the glass wall there. And the reason we have a glass wall set up is because we wanted to bring exterior light into the office space and the lobby area of the building. On the second floor, there will be a breakout cafe area for our staff members that will be utilizing this space to give them some more light and just a more pleasing presentation to the interior of the building. We could have very easily put up just regular concrete block walls, but we wanted to make something that was pleasing to the eye, but also pleasing to the community around us. And the other sign on the side where the pantry pickup is, once again, that's just a conforming logo sign that's on the edge of the building that is a the setup is it's on the far left hand side there as we're looking at it, but basically just another one of our logos that would be on there on a green background. So obviously we're making a huge commitment to the community, a huge commitment to remaining in the city of Cincinnati, and we appreciate the support that the city has provided to us as well as the Hamilton County area. So we'd be happy to answer any questions that anyone might have relative to the variances requested.
Thank you. Thanks, Mr. Reiber. I do have a few questions, but I may wait and hear the rest of the testimony first. If you could go, I do have one preliminary question. If you go back to that, yeah, or that one's fine. So these are the three signs that you're proposing on the one frontage here. So
That's correct. You got those are the two signs up above, which are the size of the signs, in my understanding, is compliant with zoning ordinances. The only variance is the height should be at 30 feet, and we're at 36 feet. And then the logo sign is there to the left-hand side of the glass atrium.
Gotcha. Okay. And these are these signs, well, the P&G and the Cintas sign, are those just recognition of sponsors, or is it also wayfinding as well? I can't really tell what it says there.
It says it says the community resource and distribution center made possible by Procter & Gamble.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then the other sign basically says the Farmer Family Foundation Workforce Training Center.
Got it. Okay. And
so,
so they are wayfinding as well.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And if I remember, so this is directly adjacent to the Amazon.
Yes, the Amazon last mile fulfillment center is, depending on how you look at it, immediately behind or just before you would get to the Free Store Food Bank. So it's over in this section that the cursor is showing over in that area here to the right-hand side of that drawing.
Right. Okay. So yeah, I've had a few related to that Amazon center, and if my memory serves me correctly, there's some topographical relief here from River Road to the actual facility down lower. Is that right?
Yes, we're basically in a little bit of a gully there. There's you have a grass median that goes up to River Road. We're on a private drive, which goes immediately adjacent to our building, and then exits on the west side at there's non-traffic light there, which is basically just, I would imagine, car vehicle traffic would come through there. Our trucks would come in at the light, which is over by the Peter Kramer building on the right-hand side or the eastern side of the building.
Got it. Okay. And I might as well ask a couple more.
Sure.
So the roof sign, that's strictly going to be visible via air.
Yeah, there's enough, the rim around the building is such that it will not be, it'll be a flat sign. It'll be painted on the building and basically maintained by us, but it will not be seen. It's not elevated to the extent that anybody would see it from the road or from the adjacent properties.
Okay, so I know that there's a woods and sort of nature preserve there. It won't impact any like river view sheds or,
No, not at all.
okay, got it. Ironically, I look right out at Price Hill, right out of my window. And I know that there's a flight path. I think that as they come into CVG, they go right over like Mount St. Joseph and all of that. Is the idea that you'll be able to advertise to incoming planes, or is it just maybe you'll get a shot on Monday Night Football?
We might get a shot on Monday Night Football, incoming planes. I don't know if it's large enough at the International Space Station to be able to see it from, but somewhat tongue in cheek there, David. But I think the bottom line is that we felt this was a way for us to raise awareness of not only the Free Store Food Bank, but the work that we're doing in our 20 county service area.
Got it. Okay. I think that's all I have right now. Was there anyone else on your team that wanted to provide any testimony before I give Wes an opportunity to testify?
Tim or Wes, you guys, either one of you want to say anything? Okay. I think we're good, David. Thank you.
Yeah, and sorry, Mr. Miller, I didn't mean to cut you off earlier. When he said Wes, I thought he was talking about Wes Menzel, and so that's my mistake. Mr. Menzel, floor is yours.
Good morning, everybody. So basically, the proposal reflects the allowed signage that would be allowed on the north facade to be shifted to the west facade, and we do that occasionally for these variances where this facility has River Road kind of curves, so we declared the formal frontage for signage purposes to be the north facade. So they do have, as someone mentioned, a conforming sign on the north facade, and then they have extra square footage that they've shifted around to the west facade for the 2 donor signs and the window sign. So that's kind of the main request. And then the window sign is, unfortunately, the MG district has kind of a flaw in its code where it doesn't allow window signs. So that type of sign would of course be allowed on a concrete wall, but in this case they want to put it on the window. So we see that as a little bit of a flaw in the code, and but as far as handling that request, the law department has concluded that window sign variances would be a use variance. So that's why we outlined information about that. So let's see here. Yeah,
do you have any sense? Do you have any sense for why window signs are not allowed in manufacturing districts?
I do not. I mean, that's been on the books for a while, so it's kind of interesting because the industrial zones are usually like less traveled and not as prominent locations, and why would anyone be concerned about a window sign? So but we, as far as additional thoughts, we thought that the shifting of the signage from the north facade excuse me, to the west facade would not have any adverse impacts on the neighborhood, and the height of the signs also would not have an adverse impact, especially given the size of the building. The scale and height of the building make it more compatible to have the signs that tall. And as far as the window signage and the use variance, whether or not that has a positive or negative impact on the viability of the use, which is one of the kind of the parameters we look at, it's really hard to say. And we didn't really think it would have any adverse impacts. So But we did, as a matter of, process, recommended no on the window sign because of the fact that there's not a strong argument in favor of it, but there's not really any strong argument against it. But that's kind of where we landed on that. Basically, the signage is in an industrial area with residential across to the north. The signage is shifted from one facade to another, and we didn't see any substantial adverse impacts on the request. And same thing with the roof sign. It's kind of a unique request, and wouldn't be visible to anybody except flying over in an airplane. So that's kind of our summary of our comments.
Gotcha. Okay. Wes, just to pin you down a little bit more on that use variance. Is it, I mean, essentially you just didn't think that they could meet the first prong? Is that it, the economic viability? Is that?
Correct. We couldn't see a, distinction between a wall sign and a window sign and the effectiveness of it and how it impacts the viability of their business or their, it's a nonprofit. So it's even makes it less relevant to look at that kind of argument. But we did, as a matter of policy, kind of conclude that it was not a supportable variance from our perspective. And of course, you have the ability to make your own decision based on the other information.
Sure. Okay. Thanks, Wes. Appreciate your testimony and thanks for your staff report.
David, could I just address that just since we're on that, the logo and the fact that we are a nonprofit? Well, I understand that we are.
As you do that, Mr. Reiber, if I could ask Mr. Schultz, do you mind pulling up that western facade again that incorporates as much of the entire facade as possible? Sorry, Mr. Reiber, go ahead.
No, that's fine. Thank you. But first I want to also point out, Weston has been extremely helpful to work with. It's just been really given us a lot of advice and counsel, and has been very informative as far as what the policies and procedures are, as well as the zoning ordinances, and we've really helpful, and we appreciate his help. As I was stating, we are a nonprofit. However, our logo has been our logo is our brand. Our logo is allowing us to share the impact and the work that's being done at the Free Store Food Bank. It's much brand awareness for the Free Store Food Bank as Procter & Gamble has with their P&G logo, or Kroger has with their logo. It raises awareness. We are this past year, our past fiscal year, we probably had $85 million in gross revenues, which relates to not only the amount of money that was brought into the organization, but also the food that was brought in. We employ 125 amazing team members who are on the front line of hunger each and every day. We partner with over 13,000 volunteers to support our work with almost 100,000 hours of volunteer service. So whenever we're out in the public, we wear our logo, very proudly, and people usually come up and ask us about the Free Store Food Bank and the impact that the pandemic has had on rising prices. So having the logo out there in front of our building is something I think that is not only critical to our work, but also critical to letting people know that this is a building that this community has supported. We've purposely put this building in this location because of it being in an enterprise zone, and the fact that it was an area where economic development was being encouraged. Between the purchase of the land as well as the improvements that we're putting on there, we're putting about $28.5 million into this community. We have provided countless jobs on the construction side. We'll be adding about 35 new jobs over time as part of our new market tax credits that we're bringing in to this work as well. So there's a number of factors that are at play relative to our brand awareness and the fact that this is a Free Store Food Bank building that has been supported by not only folks like Procter & Gamble and the Cintas Corporation and Farmer Family, but Fifth Third Bank, the American Financial the Rosenthal Family Foundation, the Hale Foundation, the Kroger Company, all of them have rallied behind us in order to provide the funding for this transformative building that will allow us to distribute up to 100 million meals to the 20 counties that we serve in the tri-state area. So I guess, and I think Weston has rightly pointed it out, is that this is a unique building in a, what is an area that's zoned for manufacturing, because we're not manufacturing anything, we are distributing things. But we felt that the glass wall atrium was something that brought some very nice appeal of the building externally to the community. We wanted this to be a showcase for the community where we would invite members of the community to come. In fact, I've already met with the Riverside Community Council and showed them the plans and what we're thinking about doing there, and also providing the opportunity for them to come in and utilize the space for community meetings. So, while we know that it's a unique request to have the logo on a glass wall, that would otherwise be, if it was a brick wall, it wouldn't have as much appeal from the outside, but we would be able to put the logo there. So we would, we appreciate the fact that there, as Weston points out, that there's no detriment to having the logo there. It's just non-compliant with respect to the zoning ordinances that are currently in place. So thank you.
Sure. And so I think you touched on this a little bit, but could you talk specifically, and this is for anyone on the team that would like to respond, why you believe that the window sign is more advantageous than putting it on one of the concrete or one of the side facades, sort of like you have on the north elevation. Like why is the window sign that much more important?
Well, because one thing we would have is we'd have lights on in the interior of the building that would allow that sign to be seen. But also we do a little thing called the rubber duck regatta, and we're going to have our blow up ducks in the lobby area in that 2-story atrium that will allow us to raise awareness. And we need to have the logo there to tie in the rubber duck regatta to the Freestore Food Bank. But it's also a way for us to really, thank this community for supporting the Freestore Food Bank for the 50 years that we've been in existence, and also the support they provided to allow us to build this building that will allow us to provide more food to the families. It's like any of the Kroger Company obviously has their logos out in front of their building, so it shows that it's a building that's a Kroger organization. Procter & Gamble has the same thing. We're just like any other business that we want to show our brand and let people know that who we are and what this building is for. So it made sense to have it there, located adjacent to the entrance where people were walking in.
Yeah, and just to add to that too, as far as on the glass, it's, again, a lot of volunteer organizations that will be coming. They'll be gathering in that lobby area. It's a sense of awareness that even when they're inside the building, they turn around and they see that logo. It's that it's transparent from both sides, and that they're, that consistency for people who are coming to either volunteer or utilize the resources available at the Freestore Food Bank.
Gotcha. So you believe that the window sign allows sort of promotion of the brand and identification of the Freestore Food Bank better than if it were just on, not in the window. Is that right?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
And we think it's also, we were also aware of the fact that we wanted to, have a building that, sometimes you see buildings out there that have a lot of, neon lights and things like that are out there. And we wanted to be something that would be aesthetically pleasing, but also something that would allow us to, spread the news about the brand of the Freestore.
Okay. All right. Anything else from Freestore and closing or otherwise before we adjourn here today?
Just want to thank you for your time, David, and thank you, Weston, for your input and guidance as well. We appreciate the support that we've been provided by the city as well as the county and this caring community.
Thank you. Okay, so I think we'll leave it at that. I'm inclined to approve all of these. I'm going to approve all of them. I want to take a little bit closer look at the application materials on the windows sign, just because those use variance standards are a little tricky. The rest of the signs I'm going to approve. I don't see a big issue. I'd like to drive down River Road as well. I am required to do a site visit on these. So I'd like to take a drive down River Road, but this seems like a great project. I love the organization. And so just give me a couple weeks, as I said in the beginning. Usually I have to, no matter what decision I make, I have to formalize that in a written opinion. And so that's usually what takes the 2 weeks. And so, yeah, I will have an answer for you on that window sign as soon as possible. The rest will be approved. As soon as I finish my decision, I put it into a PDF and I email it to everybody who's in the room. So as soon as it's completed, you guys will have it really just moments after. And then as soon as you have that, you can work with West Menzel to get the necessary permitting. Let's see, any other questions right now about any of that?
No, David, if you like, I'd be happy to meet you down at the site and give you a walkthrough as well. It's a pretty impressive building, and be happy to do that. So just let me know.
Sure, I'll let you know. I don't think it'll be necessary, but I'll let you know if I would like to do that. And I appreciate the offer. Okay, if you have any other questions in the meantime, feel free to reach out to me directly. If you would like a status update on the decision, feel free to reach out to me directly, and I'll give you an update on that. Yeah, I think that's it. So thank you all for your time and your testimony here today. Good luck with the project. Good luck with the mission. And